All right. Hey everyone, it's Cyber Bunny. So Iffy and I have been talking back and forth about how we do our different styles, and I told her that I would make her another video of how I make an avatar. She had one in particular that she liked, and it was this one that I had made, and she had asked how I got it so it wasn't so fuzzy. Well, the first thing I do is I always go, when I have a particular image, I look for a bigger size before I do anything else. And the bigger size, the better. So here, this is the image that I want. And I always work on a file size. So new file. I work large, and I usually go 855 by 588. I don't know why that's the number I chose, it just is. And I make it so it matches into frame for the most part. So once we get our model where we want it and we have it so it's sized correctly, and I always see, I'm lucky because this is already a white background. So I don't have to do anything to mask like the edges or color in the background. But say we go back and we find a image that has a background in it. I go in, let's say we found something like this. And he's got that rock wall in the back. Now, depending on what type of backgrounds I use, I may actually use that in the avatar. However, I probably would go in and pick the color of the stone and color in around him so that way it makes a uniformed background. So after that, we're going to go and we're going to go find something we want to work with. Now, on top of it all, she says she always has a hard time working with male avatars and how I can do it, so I figured I would do a 2-for-1 type of deal. Now we're going to go and find something that we want to see on him. Let's look at this one. It looks like it would be something I'd put on top of everything else. Let's see. Alright. So with this one, I would probably go about multiply, and you can see his skin's already to showing through. Now, to make this easy, we'll stick with multiply, and we're going to mask. Now this is the part that's going to take a little bit of time, because you're going to try not to get around the edges just yet. I usually will work in lower opacity, and in the inner I always work with a feathered brush. Now right about now it's alright not to worry about the edges. That's the reason why I work with masks versus just erasing, because I won't be able to go back. Where in Paint Shop Pro they have an option where you can fill it in. So it's basically, they basically do the same thing I'm doing, except for they get to do it with their eraser tool. I don't. Alright. Next we're going to go in and we're going to get a harder brush. And we're going to make it a little bit smaller. And going to zoom in. And make sure we're on white. Because with masks, anything in black is going to take away, so you're cutting with masks. Anything in white you're going to add back in. So we're just going to go around his edges. And color in. His spots. With this one you can use a higher opacity brush. That way you're not going over and over and over. And just get right into your this is usually the part where I put in my music really loud. Because this is the part where it's going to take most of your time. Trying to make sure I'm not making you guys like a 2-hour long video, because I know I'll tend to take that long if I have to, which is not a bad thing. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and zoom him out a little bit. There are some spots around his jacket that you can tell are darker than the others, and we don't want that. So I'm just going to go in real close and make sure that those are taken out. Alright. So now we're where we want to be. And I want to add this one on there too. Let's go screen. Yes. And that's the nice thing about when you're done, you can just go in and use your masks as templates. Alright, so looks like there's parts around his face, which is on the black part right there. Get those out, or it's just going to make his face look a little blotchy, and we don't want that either. Same with around his ear, his hair. There. after all of that's done, we're going to go in, and this is where the fun part for me is. Because really, in the end, I am the filter queen. So, we're going to first create a new layer. Excuse me. Then we're going to apply the image. And then we're going to go into our NYX filter. And we're going to find something that is going to match and make it look a little bit uniform. I actually like B2. Looks like B2 for me. Alright, and then we're going to create a new layer and apply image. And then we're going to go into Lucius. And on the fourth bubble. And I know I usually go down to about 30, but we're going to only go about maybe 40 on this. And then we're going to create a new layer and apply image, and then go into our 0 and radiance. And go back down to about 30. And then new layer, apply. And go into blur, and Gaussian blur. And 1.8. And multiply. Go about 30 again. And then apply. With this one, we're going to go into our topaz and our clean. Now with clean, we're only going to make certain areas pop. We don't want him to look, I guess, fake. It's the only word I can think of at the moment. So we're going to go to crisp style, and we're going to bring it back down to like 1. Now with this, see, it's going to make his jacket and stuff pop, but we also have his face too to worry about. So, and we don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to erase his face, parts of his hair, around some of his fingers, his jewelry, and get it really down low, and his buttons. And I know most people aren't even going to notice, but for me, I'm going to notice, and I don't want him running around with something that looks a little fake. And then we're going to apply the image one more time to a new layer. And we're going to go in and we're going to go to our 0 and we're going to go to porcelain. And I don't like the blue, so we bring everything down to 0. This is going to make him a little bit more smooth. But his eyes, I don't want that, and I don't want his hair to look sketched. So we're going to erase again. Around his eyes and his mouth and his nose and his ears and his hair. Alright, so far everything looks good. So next, we're going to go and we're going to make a gradient. And I try and find something with like light colors and dark, and I always make it so it's angled. And we're going to bring this all the way down to about, we'll say about 14. Alright. And next, we're going to go to our burn. Oh, first, excuse me, we're going to make a new layer and apply image. And then we're going to take our burn tool. We're going to be in our shadows. We're going to do about maybe 42. Lower our brush down, and we're going to just tap right along his tattoos and make those pop out a little bit. Around his neck and even his eyes, because we want that stuff to pop. And then we're going to go in with our dodge, and we're going to do the same thing. Make sure that's about down to 40, and we're going to get the whites of his eyes and even click onto the pupils and the irises there around some of his tattoos, and all about like making it brighter and shiny. So there we go, and then we're going to go ahead and create a new layer. We're going to give this and down to soft light. Maybe lower the fill a little bit, and then let's see. I was telling Iffy that the longest part of me doing an avatar has to be the fonts. Finding something that matches. I usually ask people's opinion at some point. Go right there. Stick with the blues. So that's too dark, but I like the outline, so go in to the color overlay. And we're going to snag color back here. See, much better. I like that. And now the thing I noticed with most like males is they don't really like extra text very much, so I'm not even going to bother putting any extra text on here. Just make sure that you got all your stuff placed the way you want it, and I actually am pretty satisfied with that. So really, in the end, for me, it's all about filtering to get things the way I want it. I'll end up placing some sort of like brushes here or there. I don't try and do too much or make it over the top or anything, but I do like the smooth looking avatars instead of the grainy. And that was our big topic of discussion, her and I. I was proud of myself because I did make an avatar the other day with out any filters, which I kind of impressed myself in that respect. But other than that, I love my filters and I will continue to use them. I just wanted to see if I could do it. There we go. So there you go. An avatar bunny style from start to finish. The smooth look, like I said, I don't use much topaz or porcelain on this one because I like that uniformed look of it all. So I guess any other questions you can go ahead and ask me and I'll be more than happy to make another video. I don't foresee me making another video of how I make my avatars from start to finish. I don't really see why I would need to, but I guess you never know. So go ahead and ask me a question. I'll be more than happy to answer them. All right.